Greetings and salutations once again, my fellow apes. Good to see you again. Back here with Press Monkey Independent Media, pressmonkeymedia.com. My name is Dustin Michelli, here coming at you once again, also on Press Monkey on Facebook. Please join us. Just wanted to give you a nice, there's a part 2 of my cast today. I wanted to get back to you. I want to tell you more about what we plan on doing with Press Monkey. I've got some ideas as well as some interesting concepts we're going to try. We're going to try Go Radio, like I mentioned before. So I'm going to be peppering you with some really good music on top of some of my fiery commentary that we'll be adding here pretty soon. I know things have been a little bit dry. I promise I won't always be that way. I've got a little bit more of a comic spirit to me, so you'll just have to bear with me until we get things really, really rolling. As we get things rolling, though, I do plan on giving you some more of our news and commentary, but part of my mission when I started Press Monkey Independent Media wasn't just to give you my opinions and give you concise and great analysis of the news. Part of my mission for Press Monkey Media is to swing from media outlet to media outlet online, swing from story to story, and collect some of the great stories for you folks to go and enjoy yourselves. And that's part of my mission with Press Monkey Media all along, was to also not be just a truth bringer, but also share the great stories from the other truth bringers out there, whom I appreciate so much, whom we all appreciate so much. And just in case you guys have missed any of these stories, it always helps for have somebody like me out there. I read anywhere from 6 to 8 articles a day. I watch numerous podcasts. I listen to numerous clips of podcasts throughout any course of the day or week. All for not only my own entertainment, but also so I can be a more effective truth bringer for you folks. So this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be a more effective truth bringer for everyone, and I've got a lot of different ideas. I live about 50 miles from Aspen. I'm here in Newcastle, Colorado. We literally live in the lap of proverbial luxury. And so we're going to make a lot of fun of some of that going on. Some of the fact that we live 50 miles from Aspen, whom I call the pearl necklace of the rich and famous. So, folks, one of the things I also would like to get together and talk about, I've got a couple ideas. Before I actually launch into my story part here, one of my ideas is a symposium, a truth bringer / journalist, online journalist symposium. I'm going to stay with me here for a second. Imagine this. Imagine the lineup. Okay, here, folks. Just imagine this. Imagine a round table with hopefully maybe me. I know I'm not very famous, or I don't have a whole lot of content or a lot of clout, or, I'm not caught up yet, but I will get there. And in the meantime, just still hear me out. I've got some great ideas. I've got ideas for us online journalists. One of them, wouldn't it be interesting and great to have a symposium of online journalists and activists who are minded to upheave the status quo, as many of us are? Imagine in Aspen, the lap of the pearl necklace of luxury, the lap of luxury, literally where the rich and famous gather to do all kinds of stuff. I've been living here for a while. Those people do all kinds of stuff out there. I can't tell you the kinds of things that those people do. No, seriously, I can't tell you the kinds of things that those people do. At any rate, to get back to you, we're going to go radio at some point or another, bring more music into the mix. In the meantime, though, I introduce you to part of my cast here pretty soon, which is going to be, I've taken the concept of the primate concept, the primate report concept. I'm going to refine that, and that's going to be an actual segment of the radio station is going to be the primate report. I just hope that I can get enough viewership and everything to get this everything going, because I got a lot to say and I got a lot to offer on this stuff. So, that being said, I would like to steer everyone towards a particular story. Recently, I've also talked about, I recently wrote an article that I posted on many outlets, including PressMonkeyMedia.com. And I feel like it's a pretty good I feel like it's a pretty good overall article. It's you know, it also got published partially in our local newspaper, Glenwood Post Independent. I chopped it down to 350 words and sent it out as a letter to the editor, like old people do. And hopefully they'll enjoy it, and people will enjoy it. It's very important, I feel like, to support Julian Assange. He's having, just a really heck of a time. If you give me, just bear with me for just a second so I can punch something up here. But Julian, he's been having a really rough time. He's been held up in the Ecuadorian embassy for going on 7 years now. I wrote an article about this not too long ago, real recently. Hopefully some of you folks have enjoyed it if you've gone and taken the time to read any of it. I worked hard on it. I feel like it's an important message to get out there to support Julian Assange. I really hope that hopefully we can all band together and make some kind of difference and do something to help extricate him from the situation that he's in. He's given a lot to us as a journalist. He's inspired me as a journalist. He's emboldened me as a journalist because of the sacrifice that he's had to make. So I just wanted to point out and bring to everybody's attention the article that I wrote. I've posted on, and this is bringing me to the actual part of the new part of the cast. So, introducing the new part of the cast, the Press Monkey Prime 8 report. Prime 8. There's going to be 8 things that I'm going to report on. Not 8 things, actually 8 people and or reports that I'm going to report on, and I'll give you the links to those reports at the end of the cast, or in whatever feed they're in. Hopefully I'll be able to provide you the links for every single Prime 8 report that I give you. So to start out, I published my article about Julian Assange and WikiLeaks recently. I published it in several different outlets. The least of not to be mentioned would be Just Inform. Just Inform, my number 8 of my Press Monkey report. Number 8 is Just Inform, an alternative community for responsible journalism and social networking. So it's a new social network site that's designed for and run by journalists and activists such as myself. I've got my WikiLeaks and or Julian Assange article published on there. It's being administered, and there's contributors such as Tim Black on there. There's also contributors such as Nico House with Mikasa Sukasa on there, and they all have some great casts. They all have some great opinions. There's some great opinions being shared. It's in its infancy, so if you want to get on at the ground level and feel like you've really partaken in something in the very beginning of something great potentially happening, go and please visit justinform.com. That's JUSTN, just the letter N, JUSTNFORM.com. An alternative community for social and responsible journalism and networking. So back to my second part of the Prime 8 report, number 7. We got number 7 of the Prime 8 report. Man, I wish I had some fucking music I could play behind this. So right now, number 7 is the Black Agenda report. It was a Black Agenda report radio report that I really, really enjoyed. Some folks might say, Dustin, what are you doing? Passing around stuff from Black Agenda report. Yeah, I'll tell you, because nobody else is, because nobody else isn't, and it's a really freaking great and important publication, and I really think that anybody with half a wit in their head would at least sit down and listen to an hour of the Black Agenda report in any one of their given weeks. Is just incredible on the radio show, or any of their articles, some of whom are written by Ajamu Baraka, former vice presidential candidate of the Green Party, alongside Jill Stein. Also the great the great Glenn Ford, the great Bruce Dixon, also contributors and editors. The real activist journalist stuff from a leftist perspective, I highly recommend the publication Black Agenda Report. Not just the publication, though. I did want to report on an actual report. It was Black Agenda Report Radio week of May 28th in 2018. And it was a interview with Stephen Victoria and Mumia Abdul-Jabbar about their new book, Murder Incorporated, Empire, Genocide, and Manifest Destiny. And it's book one of a 3-part series. And then there's Professor Tertel Onley, who's been creating comic book superheroes for decades, which that was a very interesting report. He had some interesting criticisms and good things to say about the new movie Black Panther, which me and my wife went and seen not too long ago and absolutely loved. We actually rented it after seeing it, and then I think we might even buy it and add it to our collection. It's a good movie. Visually, it's an astounding movie. And then to end that report is he did an interview with Newark's Larry Hamm on the need to create popular mass movement and formations. The whole radio cast and podcast is incredible. I highly recommend it. If you don't listen to the Black Agenda Report Radio, I really wish you would start, because it's poignant, great analysis, stuff that you don't usually hear. It's important to hear. One of the best publications on the internet right now, if you ask my opinion. So to move on from the Black Agenda Report, which was number 7 on our Playmate Report, I'm going to go to number 6, the Richie Allen Show. Richie Allen Show from Manchester, England, and UK. Is a left-wing progressive radio online talk show guy, and he's really incredible. I highly recommend you check out the Richie Allen Show. The most recent Richie Allen show that I listened to was with Mira Heller, whom is famed for being one of the first online vloggers and or journalists, whatever you would like to call it. She's an incredibly important figure. She's been doing this for a long time. Whether you agree or disagree with her assessments and her points that she makes on Richie's show will be left to you to decide, but I recommend the show in and of itself. Its content is great, the analysis is great, and Richie is he's a fire starter. He likes to argue with his guests even when he likes them, so there's always some great analysis and back and forth. He doesn't pull any punches. Let's see what we got here. We got Telesaur. Let's see, the Telesaur. This is another part of the original report about Julian Assange. Telesaur also published a report recently. And it was talking about how Ecuador is exploring a traumatic way out, or non-traumatic way out for Julian Assange. You can check out this report also. I'll leave a link for it. Not too much meat in this report. It just kind of seemed to accentuate the recent article that I wrote and a recent point that I had recently made. Also, Caitlin Johnston had recently also made a similar point to that, except for varying in context, because hers was more of a we need to bring Julian Assange back to Australia. So that was all interesting stuff. Another part I would like to add is Ron Placone. Ron Placone's got a new show that he's doing on YouTube. It's called News On with Ron, and it's really good. It's actually really great. He's got some great analysis as well, and it needs, like most of us, need to work on our backdrops and our lighting a little bit. But other than that, Ron Placone's show, News On with Ron, is really good. And if you don't know who Ron Placone is, he's one of the contributors and or panelists for the Jimmy Dore Show, along with Steph Zamorano. I recommend you check him out. He's really entertaining. He's doing some good reports and interesting stuff. Another person I ran into recently, or didn't run into, but discovered recently online, was Jamal Thomas. He calls himself the Progressive Soapbox. Jamal is he's a really classy looking guy. He sounds great. He's got a great voice. He's got a great demeanor, great analysis. I like him. He's an up-and-comer. Evidently, he did an interview with Jimmy Dore, and had Steph Zamorano holding the camera and didn't know so, which I found to be very funny when I listened to his cast. He's great. Jamal Thomas and the Progressive Soapbox. I highly recommend him. I believe that was number 3. Number 2, I'm going to go off the cuff here just a little bit because I didn't prepare my number 2 thing. So I'm going to make number 2 on Facebook. Whatever it is, whatever news story it is that pops up here in my feed when I punch it. Okay? So, man, it's really great to be back, and I hope to be able to contribute more to what's being done here. Tim Black has got some great stories out as well. And Nico House always has some very, very great stuff when he's doing Tsukasa Mikasa. I don't always agree with everything these guys say or their analysis. Some of you might know, I don't always agree with even the people that I respect the very most in the world. But at the same time, I always respect them and go back to their viewpoints to help refine my own. So first news thing that pops up here on my Facebook news feed. People have been talking about the North Korea thing, and of course that's one of the things that's going to pop up. I wasn't going to talk too much about this because I feel like it's been done enough by everybody else. But I will add, my only thing that I have to add about this is despite how Donald Trump's retractors might want to act about this, and despite how Donald Trump or the Republicans might be strutting around feeling accomplished about this, is all irrelevant to me. As a pro-peace activist and person minded to get some peace on this planet, I'm for any initiatives that promote peace. So at the end of the day, if this creates a more peaceful world, especially for those people in Korea and in North Korea, then I'm for it. It seems like this could give Kim Jong-un the opportunity to improve his human rights efforts and records. It seems like he could. It seems like us not being there and pretending to take them over and having war games outside of their borders might give them the opportunity to change. And I hope that that's the case. I hope this is the catalyst for change in that region and for those people. Either way, I do believe that our lack of presence there in the end will be a boon for the people of that region. So then I'm going to move on from that story because I think that that's been done plenty well enough. And I'm going to move on to my number 1 story, the final number 1 story of the Primate Report. And I'm going to try to get better at this. And I'm going to give this the golden banana. And the number 1 is the golden banana. The golden banana goes to my friend, my hero, the person I look up to the most in this industry right now is probably Jimmy Dore. And the reason why I'm giving it to Jimmy Dore is because not of any recent interviews, though I think all of them are great. All of his analysis are either funny or entertaining or what have you. But he's done 3 really, really important and incredible interviews lately that I've listened to several times, by the way. I really think that these interviews, Jimmy's contribution to the interviews in addition to the interviews themselves were really great. One of them was with the great Oliver Stone, who couldn't laud more praise upon Jimmy and his efforts, which I thought must have felt incredible. Good job on that, Jimmy. Good job for you, brother. That's awesome. Another one was Richard Wolff, an economist, a socialist economist who's written several books and has his own show and own podcasts. And it's just really, really in-depth stuff. I really liked that cast a lot. I like to listen to him talk a lot. Jimmy obviously just sat and listened to him talk a lot in this particular cast because the man is very smart and has a lot to say. So I highly recommend that. I highly recommend you check out that show as well. I'll try to post, again, I'll try to get online and post links to all these shows that I mentioned a little bit later. And the last one was my favorite, and I've listened to this cast 3 times now, and I've listened to Peter Joseph himself, but it was an interview with Peter Joseph that Jimmy Dore did, and this was a really great interview. It was a 3-parter. It ended up being, I think, like an hour long or something like that, but it was incredible, just incredible. I highly recommend anybody get on. Peter Joseph, if you're not familiar with it, he's got also has a podcast that he's doing, but he's the founder of the Zeitgeist movement, writer of a new book called the New Human Rights Movement, and I would recommend anybody get online and listen to any one of these shows. They're great, and that's my final part of my primate report. I hope that you all enjoyed it. We'll get back in the swing of things, so to speak. We'll get going. Again, hopefully looking forward to some primate radio, and we'll be able to add some really funky music to the stuff in between and give you guys some better content and reports. I've got some ideas for doing some live casts and some potential paneling casts with other folks. I've got some ideas for doing, as I mentioned before, the symposium potentially up in Aspen of activists that would overrun Aspen and make everybody feel really, really uncomfortable by talking about income inequality. Wouldn't that be fun? So, again, a lot of ideas, a lot of things we could do. I'll stay in touch, and hopefully my new recent job freedom will enable me to do a few more casts and get in some more content here real soon. And, well, as usual, truth, activism, and bananas, my friends. Peace.